Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. Hope you're all having a good day. Uh, Let me know if my audio is working because I heard a weird sound and I hope that the audio is working. So, let's see here. Okay, so the audio is fine. That's good. Alrighty, so welcome back to another episode of the New Year's Mystery Reviews, which is the movies that I haven't seen before and are reviewing for the first time. And the hints that I gave were Liam Neeson movie I have never seen before, On the Run, Chicago, and Loses Everything. Now, this movie is, I believe, from 2021, and it's actually a pretty good movie. It's called The Marksman. So, let's get into it. This movie, but before I do, make sure that everybody who's in here, or if you catch the replay, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new and want to be a part of these these streams. Also make sure that you subscribe to my Twitter channel. Sorry, I'm still waking up a little bit. Follow my Twitter profile. It's at VolinOHR. And tomorrow is my birthday, which I will be doing a 3-hour stream at 9 p.m. that night. So hopefully you all join in. It will be a rotational panel, so people can come in, talk, say happy birthday, and whatnot. It's just going to be all bunch of fun and games. And also, if you want to be a part of a guest choice review, you can choose the movie, the time, and the date. All I get to choose is the venue. It is for your convenience at best. So yes, make sure it's a movie that we both enjoy. So I'm going to say hello to the chat. Vanja, good to see you. And Ruben Thomas Official, thank you for the happy birthday wishes. It is tomorrow, but I'll still take it because my birthday is rather current for some people overseas or some people who are not in the U.S. There we go. Sorry about that. There. So, yes, The Marksman, which is the movie that I am doing a review for today. I've had this movie for a few months, but I never got around to watching it. And this movie is directed by Robert Lorenz, starring Liam Neeson, Catherine Winnick, Juan Pablo Raba, and Teresa Ruiz. The movie is done by Universal Studios, and this movie is actually one of the more interesting movies. A lot of people are saying, or from what I've done, or I've asked around on the down low, a lot of people are actually saying this movie is pro-conservative, pro-gun, and whatnot. And honestly, I do hear a little bit of what you're saying, yes. However, there's no real agenda in this movie. It's just a story of a guy who is put in very dire straits and decides to make a bad choice in order to do the right thing. So, yeah, while this movie does seem to be pro-agenda for right wing, there are a couple of moments in there that support that. However, there are other things that don't support it. This movie, I do not think, had any overt agenda to it. So, getting into the talking points, the movie begins with Miguel walking around his town in Mexico, and his mother and him have to run from the cartel because his uncle got caught cheating him or something like that, stealing from him. And then we get introduced to Naco, Arizona, where there is a fenced border wall. Liam Neeson is a sniper, it seems, because he's using sand to measure the wind, which is old school. If you are, or if you have done any sort of long range shooting, you always got to take into account the wind, speed, and for when you're firing. And I love how he does a little bit of wind, drops it, then aims and fires at a coyote that's eating one of his cattle. So he then sees that there are 5 IAs, or illegal aliens, moving near his ranch, and he then also sees buzzards so in the distance. So he goes to check out the buzzards, and he finds someone near death. He then goes about feeding his cows and moves on, driving back to his ranch. Now, this movie does have great cinematography. It is a big, wide open area, which provides good scenery. Liam Neeson, I honestly have not seen him do a bad role, in my own opinion, but also in objective quality as well. He actually is a very good actor. So yeah, when it comes to Liam Neeson and doing work, it's actually, he does pretty well. So getting back to it, there's this guy that comes by, a banker, and his name's Neiman, and his ranch is being sold because he hasn't made any payments on it. And he had an arrangement before, but that guy that he had the arrangement with is no longer around. So the arrangement is now forgotten and no longer honored. So he has 90 days to come up with the money to save his ranch. Otherwise, they sell his ranch. And it technically can be sold before the 90 days if a good enough offer comes up. So he's losing everything. And he tries to, he's like, you see that hill up there? That's where that's where I spread my wife's ashes and whatnot. And so now you know that he has lost his wife, that this house is basically his livelihood, and he needs, or this is all he has known, He's been he used to be, or he is a Marine. He never stopped being a Marine. And he comes home, serve his country, only to get fucked over by the government because, well, okay, I serve my country and now the frickin' taxes are going through the roof and shit, So he's then found at a bar, and before that, he's looking for work, any work that he can find. And he also sells off what he can to try to get some cash. He's fallen on tough times. So we then enter the character of Sarah, played by Catherine Winnick. Now, at first, it's like, okay, so is she a daughter or what's going on? Well, it turns out, yes, she is a stepdaughter of his. And the cartel is working around his area where the trafficking is pretty heavy around that area. He's getting drunk at the bar, losing everything, and she's telling him about what's going on and how she then starts taking him home. Now, I do like how his stepdaughter is a patrol agent, or a border patrol agent, BPA. And sorry, I had something in my eye. His wife died of cancer. Now, the woman in the photo, I don't think was Liam Neeson's actual wife, Natasha Richardson. However, I wish there was some way that I could actually confirm whether or not it is. It doesn't look like her, but it would have been good that if they actually did do that. I mean, if Liam Neeson would allow that kind of thing. But yeah, Natasha Richardson died, I believe, 2009 in a skiing accident. And she was a good actress from what I hear. I saw only one movie of hers, which was The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan. And that was actually, she did a pretty good job in it, you know? So getting back to the movie, he's basically, she puts him to sleep on the couch because he's drunk and or decides to sleep it off. And then we get to the next day, which is Monday. And Miguel and his mother are near the Mexican border. The Coyote, which is one of the people that smuggle people into the U.S. border, sees that there's a cartel, bunch of cartel vehicle driving around, basically trying to find them. And he's like, "You make for the fence to the right of or left of the bush. There's a door, or there's an open part of the fence that you can sneak through." Well, they get over there and they come across Hanson, Liam Neeson's character. And so they try to ask, "Could you please help us? Could you please help us? Please don't call the Border Patrol," and yada yada. Well, he does anyway. And he's like, "You got two IAs here," and gives them the position and whatnot. And then the cartel guys show up on the other side of the fence. Well, Baldy is one of these soldiers and whatnot, and he tries talking soldier to soldier with Liam Neeson. He's not having it, and so there's a shootout, and Liam Neeson kills one of them, which happens to be the bald guy's brother. Now, the bald guy in this case is the one in charge, and the mother caught a bullet during the engagement and pleads that Hanson take her son Miguel to Chicago, where they have family. The Border Patrol agents arrive, and the dialogue in the scene sounds like it was recorded in a room and not outside. It has a very acoustic and echoey quality to it that it's like, this is not coming across as if it was recorded outside, you know? So there is that objective flaw to that scene. And this is where I found out that I missed something, because the next day it says Tuesday. And this movie records the passage of time, which is actually a good quality for movies that do cover time, because that way you know exactly how long is going on and whatnot. And he goes to the Border Patrol to make a statement. He's going out to his truck, and he notices a bloody bag from the mother, or Miguel's mother, and it is full of cash. And I like how they have him start to drive off, but then you hear the dialogue from her pleading and everything else, and he's like, "God damn it," and he goes to turn around. He's now basically, his conscience got in the way. And that is such a great thing with a character, that he now has what he needs to save his ranch a little bit. And however, he's instead doing the right thing. So he goes back in and he wants to talk with the boy. And it's like, or he's instead going to be deported, because apparently there's a family member across the border who will claim him. Well, they know differently, and he also knows, or the cartel's outside of that area watching them, and he knows that it's not a family member. So he smuggles the kid right out of the BPA headquarters, public or Border Patrol Agency headquarters. Literally gets that somehow gets that kid out of there. And it's like, do you guys not have security cameras in hallways or anything like that? I mean, seriously, what the fuck? But it would defeat the purpose of the story. So he gets him out, and the kid's not talking. Liam Neeson's got some balls, I'll give him that. And the cartel spots him taking the kid out. Well, he goes home, packs for the run to Chicago, guns and clothes, and the kid tries running, but is caught by Hanson. And he tells him, those people are after you and they're going to kill you if you don't come with me. So then they begin their drive to Chicago. Now, we then have the scene where the cartel guys go through the border, or the border crossing legal, or the legal border, which is the road, and they hand a border patrol agent an ID, which is clearly not them. And this border patrol agent is like, everything's in order, you can go on through. These guys handed, or ID was of a woman. So it's like, okay, you got corrupt border patrol officials who are being paid off by the cartel to allow these people in. And it's like, holy shit. So that was an interesting twist. Confused me for a moment, but it's like, well, there are people who can be caught or who can be bought, which basically sucks. And then they go to Hanson's house and his ranch, and they burn it down. They burn it to the ground. Typical cartel move. So then there are some scenes that are tracking the journey north, Arizona into New Mexico, and we find out he's also leaking something in the front due to the fire, or to the firefight that they had. And Amber Midthunder, who was in the movie Prey last year, who did a great job in that movie. That movie was actually pretty good. She plays the gas station clerk, and he asks for a road atlas, and they're like, we don't have that sort of stuff. Most people will look on their phone. I mean, you're free to look around. And he finds something, and they're like, well, there's no price tag on it, so I guess it's on the house. And it's like, wow. Just goes to show you how people, or how old people are. I actually still have a road atlas. It's good to have these things if you're traveling, because guess what? What if you run out of battery on your phone and you don't have a way to charge it? What if you don't use a phone or a cell phone like Liam Neeson does in this movie? He doesn't use a cell phone in this movie, which is pretty cool, or which is a nice twist. And it's just so well done that it's like, oh my God, this dude is so old school. So he gets his gas and he's driving off. Then the cartel people picked up on his credit card activity. And you got these guys in a house in Sierra Vista. And it's like, this just shows that the cartels have ins into our country that apparently our government are not aware of. Maybe they should kind of take issue or take note of this movie. But so he goes there, or the head bald guy goes there, menaces the clerk into knowing which way the truck went that Liam Neeson and the kid are in. And, well, she ends up getting killed, sadly. Thankfully, they don't show it, because it's cartel. It shows you just how evil these people are. And yes, even in real life, the cartel are evil. I'm not afraid to say that. So, at this point, you also see Hanson arguing with Miguel in the truck, where he admits Miguel means nothing, basically. And I've seen this trope before in movies where, and I even write down in my talking points, I predict that he will start to catch feelings for the kid. Basically, he'll actually, or even though he doesn't care, he will eventually start to care. This has been a trope as old as time, folks. It's a predictable trope, which actually does not help this movie because it makes this movie predictable. So, the cart, or so yeah, I already covered the cartel killing the clerk. So we then see a second eating at a restaurant. Now, this scene is a humongous flaw in the film because they order their food. Miguel says he has to go to the bathroom. So he goes to the bathroom. He comes out. Liam Neeson is gone. And then he's in his truck sleeping it off. And it's like, you guys ordered food. What the hell happened here? You know? It's kind of odd. But it is what it is. Now, that's what some people could say. To me, that is an actually objective flaw. Where did they eat at this restaurant? This is not shown. This is bad storytelling, and it is actually quite bad storytelling. Unless I am missing something, which I do not think I am, that completely just confused the hell out of me when I was watching it. So it's like, you guys order food. He goes to the bathroom, which is like, what, 5 to 10 minutes? And then comes out and they're all gone. Or Liam Neeson's out and gone. Why didn't the kid have his food? What the hell is going on, you know? That was the one part that bothered me in this movie. It screams incomplete. So then we get to Wednesday. Miguel walks the dog, and Hanson wakes up thinking that he took the dog and ran with the dog. And I don't think that is the case. However, he does take some of the money, and he takes money out of Hanson's wallet, and they buy food, and he buys some food for them to eat, some Pop-Tarts, good on the road food, quick and easy, you know, good either cold or hot. And they're back on the highway. So they also get the truck patched up because this guy says you better get this patched up in a few days because you can't make the journey without it busting open again. Apparently, the cooling unit to cool the engine was shot. So the tension of the scene of him being pulled over is very good. And then we see that this cop is not on the up and up, and he asks him, or because he asked him, he's like, do you mind sitting while I talk with the kid? And then he sees that the cop pulls up his phone, and you also hear radio chatter. Well, then he's like, why didn't you talk with the kid? Excuse me? You said you did, or you wanted me to sit in your car while you talked to the kid. Why didn't you talk to the kid? Sir, I need you to step back. How much did they pay you to betray that badge? Well, yeah, pretense is then dropped. So he ends up beating him down and then handcuffing him to the collision guard of his car. And at this point, the cartel is on their way. He knows that they're on their way. They're probably going to kill him if they don't get lost. However, Miguel drops the map, the Atlas map. So it's like, oh crap, because they make a heavy effort, or they make a very quick effort to show that he drops the map. And he also circled Chicago on the map to let them know and whatnot. So the cartel arrives, they end up killing the cop, and Liam Neeson and Miguel are off watching it. And it's like, well, he even tells Miguel, he's like, don't watch. And Miguel turns away, but then he does look back as it happens. There's great acting in this movie. It really does, or this movie has some dialogue that is good, some dialogue that is decent. And it really is a good, nice story. I will give him that. So he goes in and he gets a new rifle and pistol because the cop confiscated the weapons. And he's like, or it's smart playing to the gun owner or the gun shop owner's sympathy. And the gun shop owner's like, if anything does happen with these weapons, I'm simply going to report them stolen. Because otherwise there was a background check and other stuff. So then he's finally calls Sarah. And Sarah gives some background on the cartel thugs. And he says, all right, I'm in the panhandle, going into Oklahoma. And he then gets the kid some clothes. And I see that my prediction was right. He starts caring for the kid's welfare. At the motel, the cartel shows up and they end up evading them and hiding at night. However, the dog, Jackson, doesn't make it. The dog gets shot and he ends up having to bury the dog, which sucks because a lot of people end up tuning out from movies when the animal is killed. Now, thankfully, they don't kill or shoot the dog or show the dog being shot, but they do show the guy raise the gun, cut quickly to hear the gunshot, and there you go. Dog's dead. Now, we then see Thursday. We're on Thursday. They bury the dog in Bridgeport, Oklahoma, and there's bitterness in this loss, which is also predictable, where Liam Neeson takes it out on the kid. Not physically, but he's like, I just lost my best friend all because of you guys running across me and trying to cross my land and yada, yada. And, well, the kid takes off. Kid takes off. He didn't want to hear that shit, you know. And now Sarah calls and she now has to investigate. She's actually right behind them pretty much. And so we then see the reconciliation between Miguel and allowing him to have a service for his mother because they come across a church and Miguel said, I wish I could have a funeral for my mother. And so Liam Neeson asks them to allow a funeral to be held even though there's no body, which is a nice thing for the kid. And the preacher tells him, he's like, maybe the mother knew that you were good enough to watch over this kid. You know, gotta have faith and whatnot. The sermon, basically. And that's a nice little scene there. And it really is good to allow this sort of thing. I mean, that is a nicety that is rarely afforded people in time-sensitive matters. However, I do think that is actually a good scene that doesn't truly drag down the pacing of the film because it's quick, it's limited, but it also gets you to where it needed to go, you know? So then, the cartel, there's a shot of the cartel figuring out where they're going because they also grab the book with the map, and one of them sees that they're going to Chicago. So he calls one of their boys up in areas north to where Chicago is, and he's like, I want you guys to watch the highways coming into Chicago. Well, now we know that there's going to be some problems. So we then get to teaching Miguel how to shoot. And he teaches him how to use the pistol, where he holds the gun. He holds it safely. So let me see if I can actually find my... One moment. To basically give you... This is a part of a cane. This is a non-functional piece. It's a handle to a cane. The trigger cannot be pulled, as you can clearly see. The hammer cannot be pulled back. And as you can see here, this is absolutely obstructed, so this is not functional at all, folks. The only thing that turns is the cylinder here. So when he's teaching the kid about the weapon, there, he actually has the kid do it right, holding the weapon not in the trigger guard here. That's a no-no. So he's actually teaches the kid to hold it there and only put your finger in this area when you're ready to shoot. He actually teaches him proper gun safety. And this movie has proper gun safety. I'm going to put this down now. And unlike certain Baldwin. Yeah. So you see that the kid gets a lucky shot on the cannon. He's like, if I ever find those men, I'll kill them. And he also asked Liam Neeson or he also asked Hansen, did you kill people in the military? And he nods his assent. And so he tells him, he's like, if I ever find those men, I'm going to kill them. And Liam Neeson tells him, there's absolutely nothing that feels good about killing another man. Now, I actually put this quote on Facebook, and it was clearly seen in quotations, and people are like, I don't believe that's true for a minute. There's some dissent here and there. And it's like, what about pedophile? Or what about people who prey on kids and whatnot? And it's like, while they are deserving, if you feel good about taking a life, if you feel good about it and you have no problem with it and you feel good about it, that means there's something, that means there's something missing from you. My own personal thoughts. Now, do I believe that there are some people who are deserving of death? Yes. Do I believe that there are some people who need to engage with death quicker or sooner rather than later? Absolutely. People who prey on children, for one. But yes, back to the movie. There is absolutely nothing that feels good about killing another man. That's the perfect thing to tell this kid so that this kid learns that there's good ways to handle weapons and there are things that you shouldn't do, you know? So the cartel goons are staking out the highways north. Haven't found anything yet. And they're hiding while they're eating, Miguel and Hansen. And they burn the entire bag of cash. So wait, does that mean I'm a psychopath or just circumcised? How you doing, Epi? Good to see you. Or did you mean missing something emotionally? I mean missing something emotionally and even humanly. Because I actually do have sociopathic tendencies. I'm not afraid to admit that. There are things that I absolutely just do not care about. And I'm not, or if you saw me at a funeral, let's just say that you would think I didn't care, even though if it's a loved one's family member, I would actually very much do care. To me, I keep my feelings very private. So people have accused me of being sociopathic, which, to be completely honest, yes, I am. I am very sociopathic in certain situations. And good day to you, Happy. Good. Always pleasure to have you here. So, we then go to Friday. After burning the cash, they're 52 miles from Chicago, and the cartel finds them. The spotters on the highway found them out. And we get them fighting back. So there's a little bit of a road fight, which is nice. And we see that Liam Neeson is indeed a sniper when he evades them on the back roads. He then drives up as far as he can before his car gives out. And then he takes over, or he says, Miguel, stay there. And he pulls out his rifle and he does the long shots. As soon as they end up coming up over the hill of the road, that's when he shoots and takes out the driver. So these guys are now injured and they run to a barn or a farmhouse. And it's like, where the hell are the owners of this freaking farmhouse? You know, it's just by sheer dint of luck that these people are not home. So we get the farmhouse shootout. The Battle of the Barn is what I call it. And you get smart shooting from inside the barn, which is actually Liam Neeson takes a hay fork, stabs it into the hay bale up there where he's about to shoot or take aim at these guys. Now, if you're sticking your gun out the window, as far as the scope, you could possibly give away your position. However, he's further in the he's further in, so you won't see the light reflecting off his scope to give away his position, which is actually very smart marksman shooting. You don't want to give away your position with any sort of reflective material. So he then takes out one of them, and I like how right after he shoots, he's in motion. That's another smart thing about snipers. Or if you're a sniper that's going to try using your hide as long as possible, that doesn't always work in reality. A good sniper will fire and move, fire and move, fire and move. You don't want to be caught in one spot, and you want to be able to get down, get quick, or hide in several areas. You want several areas, or real person who is a sniper. I am not by no means a real sniper, but this is stuff that I have learned either through observation or talking with people who actually are people who hunt and whatnot. If you are engaged in battle with other people who have guns, and you are, or if you have any sort of prep time and you are going to try to take them out long range, you want several spots around you that you can pull or that you can shoot from. So if you are a sniper, you are going to shoot, move, like I said. And I do like how he also has Miguel do the 2-shot thing. He's like, I want you to count to 30 and then shoot 2 shots out the window. And he does, and it works. And then he takes out all the people instead of the bald one or the bald guy. Now, we then get to the standoff where the bald guy finds Miguel. And he tells him he's going to teach him to be a soldier in the cartel. I didn't have a choice when I was a kid, and yada, yada. Well, we then come down to a fight between Hanson and the cartel thug. And this fight is actually pretty good. It's not dragged out, long beatings and whatnot. It's actually a fight that Hanson has got shot in the side, and he's bleeding. So this is not a fight that is dragged on. But there's also, or he also got stabbed several times by this guy because he also has a stabbing implement or a stabbing tool that he stabbed him with a couple times. Now, I do like how Miguel, or before the fight began, back when he taught Miguel how to fight, or not fight, but to shoot, he also taught him the functions of most automatic pistols. The slide, which slides out the mag, you slide back the top slide to, or the trigger button that's ejects the mag, plus the slide to eject the round that's in the chamber. Well, I do like how Miguel actually sees the gun, or because the the cartel thug tries to get him to shoot Hanson. And so Hanson reminds Miguel, what did I teach you? You know? And Miguel ejects the mag, which is a great moment there, you know? Shows that the kid was paying attention. And I really do love how this plays out, because Miguel then gets the gun while they're fighting, and he's pointing it, and they're both like, or the cartel guys like, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. Well, Miguel, instead of shooting the cartel guy, points up and shoots the glass above them to cause a break in the weapon, or a break in the action, which then gives open to the climax of the fight. So the cartel thug ends up being injured, I believe, actually does get shot by Liam Neeson. He grabs the gun, slips the mag in, and plugs the cartel thug in the stomach area. So he's now sitting down and dying. And while the cartel was at Hanson's house, he finds one of his decorated military medals, and he gives it back to him. Now, at this point, Liam Neeson was about to shoot this guy cold dead. So when he sees the military star that the cartel thug gives him, he realizes, or I do like this moment. Now, originally I thought it a trivial moment, but back in retrospective, this is a moment where Liam Neeson remembers that he is not one of these guys. He does have a sense of honor. He leaves one round in the chamber of the weapon and gives it to the cartel thug. And then he walks out after he tells, or earlier he told Miguel to get out of there. And then after Liam Neeson and Miguel are looking at each other out there, you hear the gunshot go off, so you know that the cartel thug plugged himself. We then see them get picked up on the side of the road. They're driven to Chicago on Saturday, and Miguel is taken to his family. And we see Hanson walk off, and he gets on a bus. Now, he also looks at the blood in his, or that from his wounds, and he covers it up with his coat, and then he slumps forward, closes his eyes, and that's when they roll credits. So it's like, does he die? Or chances are he's willing to let himself die now. He's letting himself go. Because remember, he doesn't have anything left. His house is gone. His house was burnt to the ground. He did one final good thing for somebody. And honestly, that is a really great ending, because it kind of does leave you asking a couple questions in a good way. It's like, does he die? And like, what's going to happen to him, you know? But I also do like how it kind of leaves it closed, so there is no unnecessary sequel. So the scoring for The Marksman, because that's the end of the movie, the scoring for The Marksman, objectively, this movie is an 8. There are some scenes that were poorly written. And I'm not talking about dialogue written. I'm talking about how the scene was written to be handled. That scene that screams incomplete at the dive, that little restaurant area where they order their food, but they don't even get their food and whatnot. Somehow you're able to smuggle a kid out of the Border Patrol Agency building without being stopped. So, yeah, that happened. These are just things that cannot be explained very well, you know? So, there are some flaws to this movie. However, the acting is superb. The casting was well done. The movie was made for entertainment. However, some people can make the argument that this movie was kind of made as a conservative or pro-conservative film. Now, that argument can be made. I'm not going to be the one to make it. However, I do see how some people can make that argument. But other than that, I did enjoy this film. Subjectively, I'd say that this movie is about a 9 out of 10. It has some slow pacing in the beginning. However, it does get nice and even during the trip to Chicago, and has a good climax. Moviegoer, it's 10 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I really did. I didn't see any reason not to enjoy it. Hints for next week, we are moving into romantic zone. different mystery reviews where these movies have some element of romance in them because February is Valentine's month. So each movie will have a element of romance in it. And the hint for next week's is an element of romance in a fantasy setting. And I'll even add on a bonus hint. This will be during or a movie from the 80s. So it's a fantasy element from the 80s and it's a romantic element as well. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Tomorrow I have my birthday stream at 9 p.m. So if you want to come on, the link will be in the chat to jump on and whatnot. It will be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard evening. Also, tonight I will be on Barroom Podcast where we're going to be discussing some of the last week's and over the weekend's interesting developments in the entertainment industry, like news and how some cringe shit going on, where I do give my stronger opinions. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Orange Hat Reviews. Have a wonderful day, and always remember to stay humble.